Hey everybody, good morning. So, yesterday I finished scraping off all the finish all over the guitar, including the edges that I was worried about. I ended up discovering that if I apply the heat much more aggressively than I would on a normal guitar, the finish would come up easier. I wouldn't say that it came up, it didn't melt. It would basically powderize, if that's a word. It would, if I got it hot enough, the top would start to bubble just a bit, but it wouldn't actually melt. But it made it a lot easier to scrape off. And so I was able to get the stuff on the corners out. So as I did this, I noticed a bunch of things. So the edges, as far as I can tell, this is a laminated body. It's multiple pieces of wood, as with a normal guitar, like segmented this way. And then there's a cap on the top of both sides. What the cap is made of, I have no idea. I really can't tell. The body itself, if I can trust the end grain, I think it's pine. Which I know a lot of tone wood people would say, oh my God, it's firewood, throw it away. But honestly, and you'll probably hate me, but I think tone wood matters in an acoustic guitar a lot more than it does an electric guitar. It's basically a plank of wood, and what matters a lot more are the electronics and the pickups that are in there. Now, of course, better woods are gonna have better sustain, etc., but I'm not playing crazy stuff here. I'm playing punky, grungy stuff. So I'm fine with it. That said though, I don't know whether you can see this too terribly well, but the end grain, there was a lot of exposed pores. I can tell why they just slathered on the finish the way they did, because it's pretty crappy wood. So, you just build up a really thick finish and you can pretty much smooth out anything. So I spent a lot of time yesterday with Bondo, just filling in the end grains, phase one, filling in the tear outs that we talked about before, like this. And then I also ran a little bit along these edges because they're pretty rough and they've got some pits in there, etc. So this is first pass. So what I'm gonna do is sand this all down, and then I'm gonna go back with wood filler, not more Bondo, but just wood filler, and just pretty much lay everything, paying real particular attention to end grain and edges, and just build up a layer, scrape it off, fill up as much of the gaps as I can, sand it again, and then start hitting it with several coats of sanding filler primer. Get that sanded down nicely, wet sand it, and then I'll be ready to apply color. Oh, one other thing. I did fix this part, so glued that back in, kind of smoothed over the edge here. It's not going anywhere now. Okay, so let's sand. Oh, wear a mask. So I just pulled out my orbital sander. I think what I've got on here is 80 grit, which for this first pass, we're fine. So here we go. Happy days. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to point out on this guitar. It's a little interesting. I've never seen this before, but I guess this is a Soviet guitar quirk. The forearm cut. Let's see. Can you see this? So normally, like on a Strat, it just shelves off and it's an angle, right? This, they actually cut concave. So it dips down, then dips back up again. And I actually thought about like rounding this corner off a little bit more. But honestly, I'm on the fence. I mean, it's not uncomfortable to play, but that edge rising up is a little strange. So I've got some thinking to do. I'm not sure whether I want to round that up or not, but for now, I'm just let's stay on task and I'll have a think about that. So we'll do the back. One thing I got to be mindful of here is I'm on a really aggressive grit, but I don't want things to pill up on here. It's less of a problem right now because I'm going to be filling more, but just why make more work for myself if I don't have to? Anyway, I'm going to keep going on this and I'll check back in with you a little bit later. All right. Majority of the Orville sanding is done. Got the back looking good, got the belly cut, got the front including the forearm cut, and then I got the sides as best I could. I'm gonna have to go back and do that by hand, in particular all these contours, but no biggie. And I'll do the edges by hand too. So I'm starting to think I am gonna round this over. This is going to be a player guitar. I'm going to play shows with this thing and I want it to be comfortable. So I don't want to alter the look too much. I'm just going to round over that edge right there. I don't care if it's still concave. I'm not going to like completely recontour this thing. But I definitely want to round over this edge a little bit. All right, brought out some files. I don't want to get too aggressive with this thing, but see what happens here. Go nice and slow, knowing that this stuff is pretty fibrous wood. Alrighty. Well, that feels better already. And it doesn't change the look of the guitar. Okay, I think I'll stop there. All right, so now I'm just gonna hand sand all of this and I'll check back. All right, first pass of sanding is done. Got all the edges. It's roughed in nice and smooth. Well, that was an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. Edges are done. Did the horns. That was a pain in the butt. Got it nice and smooth here. I think I'm ready to go ahead and run the filler all the way around, all over it. Still some rough areas along here, but again, once I do the sanding filler primer, it's going to fill in a lot of those spots. I'll probably basically shoot primer, sand it all the way back so that it goes in the divots and things like that, and then shoot one or two more coats on top of that, level sand, and then let it cure and then do the color. So I had toyed around with the idea of deepening this belly cut just a little bit because frankly I have a little bit of belly, but I'm going to leave it factory. Also, I'm rethinking that this might have been pine. I think it's beech or alder as the core, and then I have no idea what this laminate is, but you can see the laminate line right there. It's just sandwiched on top. It's a cap, and you can see the line right there too. So here we go. I'm just gonna run some wood filler and go from there.